Hello, my Cameroonian brothers and sisters. I am Adrien Jadelea Tangani. I am the Secretary General of Lilipac. I am coming back to speak to you with great sincerity, with a lot of love for my homeland, Cameroon. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, and I want to thank everyone who commented on my posts regarding the statement made by candidate Issa Chiroma. I appreciate the encouragement. I appreciate the criticism, because it allows us to become even more aware. My brothers and sisters, the movement of the lionesses and indomitable lionesses for the Pan-African liberation of Cameroon is first and foremost made up of the People's Assembly, that is you. It is thanks to you that we will liberate Cameroon this year. In this movement, we are led by the national servant leader, Professor Franklin Yamsi, and I am assisted by Commissioner Hélène, Dr. Jean-Yves Mougou, and the young Adrien Calas. We have many supporters in addition to the People's Assembly, both in Cameroon and around the world. And I also want to thank them because they are contributing to this awakening with us. Thank you for standing up for your Cameroon. Thank you for being patriots. Thank you to those who still have strong ethics. We need you. I am here to talk about Paul Biya's statement. My brothers and sisters, I promised myself I would no longer remain silent. For years, we stayed quiet. We let things happen. He goes to the right, he goes to the left. We stay silent. We say, yeah, we'll just do as we always do. But this year is different from all the others. The children of Cameroon, as I always say, have grown up. Years have gone by. We've seen enough. We can't stay silent anymore. The choice of president is such an important issue in Cameroon, my brothers and sisters, this year. You can't even imagine. Countries all over the world know where they will be in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years. China has conquered the world because it has a vision for its country 25 years from now. It has already made forecasts for that. And here in Cameroon, Ngong isn't even able to tell you where Cameroon will be in 3 years. He can't tell you where Cameroon will be in 5 years. We need leaders. Ting ting. Here is our president, Paul Biya. I'm going to talk to you about him, but also about his 11 fanciful candidates. We're in the middle of a campaign, right in the middle of the election campaign. He gets up, he grabs his things and gets ready to go. He takes his cousin Vando Ayolo with him. He takes his deputy, Admiral Bikel. He boards a plane and heads to Switzerland. My brothers and sisters, what is he going to do in Switzerland? He went to his stronghold just like he always does with us. He gets up, he disappears, people shout, and no one knows what he went to do. Sometimes he stays over there for 8-9 months at the taxpayer's expense, and then he comes back and nobody says a word. This is very serious, right in the middle of an election campaign. It's a sign of contempt for Cameroonians who have no name. We know they don't pay any attention to us. We know they don't talk to us. We know he doesn't campaign. Besides, what would he even campaign for? He really acts like he's campaigning for himself. He's calm, he can just leave. He really acts like he's just collecting his votes. To the point of taking off like everyone else. Phew, my brothers. Paul left without a care. With total contempt for Cameroonians, as he always does. He went to campaign for himself in Switzerland. Because it's in Switzerland that he goes to campaign, instead of going to Douala. He went to do what you call a PR campaign. He went there to show us that he's still the Lion King and that he can stroll around Switzerland or at the Four Seasons Hotel. The Four Seasons Hotel is even more expensive than the Intercontinental Hotel, all at the expense of Cameroonians. We see patriots lined up to greet him. That's what he went there to do. That's his campaign. And in the background, you hear women chanting, stirring up tribalism. Why don't we hear the Mandinka balafons in the background, all rotten? Why don't we hear the songs of the other clans of Cameroon? Why don't we hear people singing Psycho in the background? Because they were going to hand out sardine sandwiches to women who have no dignity. Women who back home have other women giving birth in clinics without even the bare minimum. They came to sing for Paul Biya, always Shoga. That's our president. This is not acceptable. This is not tolerable. This contempt towards Cameroonians has gone on long enough. We must not stay silent. We have to say it as it is. This president, instead of speaking to Cameroonians, that's what you call being out of touch with national priorities. President Paul Biya's priorities should be to take care of his citizens, to come and explain to us why the cost of living is so high in Cameroon, why we have unemployment, why there is insecurity, and why we are about to face serious political tensions soon. No. He goes to the land of luxury. Even if he had left because he was very ill, even that would not have been acceptable. Let him go get treated in his so-called reference hospital from his own region. He goes to Switzerland, a country where we also know that hospitals are extremely expensive. Prestigious medical care, that's what he gets while we are dying in Cameroon. With problems of failing public services. This is not normal. What shocks me even more for us in the Lilipac movement, we who are Pan-Africanists, is that 2 days before his departure, here is a president who received a high-ranking officer from the American Army, from AFRICOM, the one who replaced the English general who disrespected our President Traoré, the sailboat that leaves. He comes to Cameroon to say hello to Paul Biya right in the middle of the election campaign. Do you know what that means, my brothers? Symbolically, this is very, very serious. Americans are known for not interfering in African affairs. So where did American neutrality go? What did he come here to do? He came to interfere. Right in the middle of the campaign, he came to do what we call legitimizing the current regime. He gave indirect legitimacy to President Paul Biya. He came to show Cameroonians that Paul Biya is a powerful man who, and protected by the great American powers. They came to make a point. He and the Americans, they're like this. They're buddies, they're partners. Partners, as we say back home. They're partners. Do we, as Pan-Africans, want to see our president with an AFRICOM general? And Paul Biya says, I met with the American general, his name is Dagvin Anderson, and we sat down to talk about security. Paul Biya, who says, we discussed the cooperation of our defense forces in the fight against Boko Haram. Oh, really? We're going to have to deal with the fight against Boko Haram after President Paul Biya. But he goes to Switzerland. Our brothers in the north and far north are going to be attacked by Boko Haram, who, as we know, are armed by the Americans, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, and others. The leader of our movement wrote an impressive book. It's called Imperial Terrorism to describe this. But it's with him that Paul Biya says hello. When is this going to change? Paul Biya is no longer the man for the job. We need people in Cameroon who have ethics, who can speak about geopolitics on a global and international scale. We need to see a united trans-regional Central Africa, where we can move around the 6 regions of Central Africa as if it were a single village. As if it were a single region. Instead of that, Paul Biya picks up and goes to Switzerland. If he has to talk about why Aram, it's not with the African general, it's with Kakadebi. Because the whole Lake Chad area is going to suffer attacks. No, he goes to Switzerland. He finishes with the African guy, grabs his stuff, and goes to Switzerland. Cameroon has much more important issues than this parade we saw in Switzerland. Our President Paul Biya intends to leave behind chaos in Cameroon that he won't be able to manage. He's no longer the man for the job. We're going to experience this chaos at every level. The RDPC, they can't agree among themselves. The army, they can't agree among themselves either. His so-called opposition can't agree among themselves either. The war in Nozo, we still haven't solved that problem. The South is going to face difficulties because of the tribalism he established, his state-sponsored tribalism he instilled. The North is going to rebel because they've been told that power will be returned to the North, as if it were just a matter of region. And Paul Biya, meanwhile, goes to Switzerland, right in the middle of the election campaign, just to stroll around. Do you think that's normal? With our money? I repeat, he left because he has no campaign to run. He attracts attention, we'll take care of it. Issa Chiroma, here's someone who says he went to prison. And that he was miserable in prison, and that he stood up all night because he was looking for a small window just to be able to breathe. He says this on live television. Issa Chiroma, you went to prison, you couldn't breathe, you got out of there. What did you do to ask the Cameroonian government to improve prison conditions? What did you do? Our prisons, they're not really prisons, they're torture centers. What did you do? You stood up, you couldn't breathe because of the smells. You got out of there, and for 20 years you came to feed at the trough every evening. That didn't bother you. And you want to become president of whom? All the others that Paul Biya sent, Cabral, Lilipac. You're one of those who goes on international television saying that it's impossible to win because of this electoral system, that we need a 2-round vote. But what are you doing? You're asking people to go vote because you're not able to take responsibility. You're young. We can forgive Maurice Kamto for having been cowardly. He's over 70 years old. He might have heart problems. He doesn't want to go back to prison. We can understand that. You're young. You can't sacrifice yourself for your nation. You're asking people to go vote. I don't even want to talk about the others. I don't even want to talk about the others. Cameroon needs courageous men to bring about change this year. Cameroon needs men of integrity, men with values to bring about change this year. I'd like to read you a post from a valiant Cameroonian, our dear filmmaker, Jean-Pierre Bocolo. You see, when I read, I listen, I hear, I take notes, I write down the names of all these people who are true opponents. Because let me tell you something, the real opponents are in prison. We have many political exiles who have nothing, political prisoners who have no reason to be there. There are many of them. Those whom Paul Biya imprisoned because they wanted to be president, who are now rotting in jail. Those who truly opposed, they are the ones in prison while the others are out marching. The Fogs, the Bibuniseks, the Agbes. People who were pioneers, who stood up for the Cameroonian nation whom we've let down. They are in prison. But Chiroma isn't worried about how they ended up in prison. My brothers and sisters, I speak the truth. I can't stay silent when it comes to my country, Cameroon. I can no longer remain silent. Here is our filmmaker, the brave Jean-Pierre Bocolo, who writes about Issa Chiroma. He says it clearly here. Chiroma's lies were not just jokes. They destroyed lives. Vanessa Chachu, that young girl whose baby was stolen and whom Chiroma publicly humiliated. The children of Garbu, victims of massacres in a war that is still ongoing. The fake transparency observers in 2018. The real crime is not only against these victims, but against an entire society where lying has become an educational value, a poison that will take decades to disappear. It wasn't Lilipac who said this. It was a brave Cameroonian, Jean-Pierre Bocolo, who said it. I'm reading it. Here are people who could rebuild Cameroonian civil society. Not lawyers, condescending people who have the nerve to tell people from the north, go march behind Chiroma. A man who has no values. How can people, those whom I consider to be the Cameroonian elite, say such things? I'm still reading posts like this morning. It's not because you want to be president at all costs that you should accept to use northerners to fight your war. This is political cowardice. It's political manipulation. Why do you want it to be our Wadjo brothers who rise up and take risks when all of Cameroon could stand up together to demand the end and departure of this system? Why? It's not fair. So the Wadjo, they're the strong ones. And the rest of Cameroon just cowards. Cowards. Speaking the truth. Let's all put on our t-shirts of unity and indomitable spirit. This is not a matter of the North. It's not a matter of the South. It's not a matter of the West. It's not a matter of the East. It's not a matter. It's the concern of all Cameroonians. I can't say it enough. We will not give in to wars and tribal manipulation and exploitation. We will not use those kinds of methods. I am against anyone who says that even the devil gets involved. No, we've suffered too much in Cameroon to be playing around this year. This year we need men of integrity. It's not that Cameroonians are lacking. Here is Jean-Pierre Bokolo, who wrote in. He is not the only one. Let us now rise up and courageously. If these 11 compassionate, kind candidates, if the favorites of Paul Biya do not want to distance themselves from this whole electoral farce, then they are part of it. We do not vote in a country without democracy. To vote is to betray your people. We wasted a lot of time with Professor Maurice Kamto's campaign. We're not going to start wasting time again with a pseudo-campaign by Chiroma, promoted by the government, financed by the government. Let us rise up. I'm speaking seriously because this year we have to make the right decisions. We can't miss the coach. Don't come to me with excuses saying, oh, these uprisings is good, they'll start like that. No. All together we will march toward the mobilization of Cameroon. Thank you all. Thank you to those who follow Lilipac. Be ready. Thank you to the national servant, Professor Franklin Agnes, for his courage and determination. No to tribalism, no to clanism, yes to truth, solidarity, and justice. Thank you. See you soon.